What's up guys, it's Super Elective out here and welcome to another PWTT. And today is going to be the region of Kanto. Again, this is only the second episode. And since Misty is the second gym leader, we will be doing a Misty today. Couple updates. I just finished school on Friday, and this will be the first non-scripted video to come out. Yeah, so over the summer I'll be taking health class because I just promoted from 8th grade, so now I'm going into high school as a freshman, so that's always something to look out for, and that means that, you know, I will not have that much time to upload. I will have a ton of time, a lot more time than in the school year, but it won't be as much as expected, I suppose, but that's okay. And I will also be going on vacation in about, I believe it's next week. So yeah, that's a couple things to look out for. If the Sweet Version review is already posted, that's great, but it may or may not be posted, but if it hasn't, either way, go check it out when it's going to be posted, either on Monday, which is 2 days ago, or next Monday, so definitely check that out if you haven't, and let's just get right to business. So, last time we did it in order to create team synergy as best as possible, but it is a mono-type team, so it's kind of hard to do that. So, if you do run a mono-type team, they're generally focused towards beating other mono-type teams, since if you build a mono-type team, generally it's mono versus mono. So, instead, I will be looking at their sets and seeing what kind of role they're trying to do, and after figuring out their role, then go back and change their sets to make them more competitively valid. So, let's go ahead and start out with Misty's first Pokemon. It's her signature Pokemon, Starmie. And Starmie's in the OU tier, with 3 abilities and some nice stats. Take a look at the stats. You have 100 decent base, 100 special attack, and a nice 115 base speed. So those are pretty decent, with a decent defense and special defense. So it's great as a spinner and as an offensive sweeper and stuff like that. So if you notice, they're holding the Pataya Berry, which raises your special attack by 1 stage, and that hints towards a special sweeper along with 4 special moves. So that's likely that they're running a special sweeper, so we're going to go with Timid Nature for the special sweeper. And a lot of people do like running Psyshock over Psychic so that you do not get walled by special walls such as Blissey. And you'll have Ice Beam and Thunderbolt for Bolt Beam coverage, and Psyshock and Hydro Pump for stab. See, Bolt Beam coverage hits everything except for Magnezone and the 2 Rotoms. So add in a Hydro Pump, and that takes care of all. So those Rotons are actually Rotom Frost and Rotom Heat, so it doesn't really matter. But Psychic could also be used as well, but it's not as good, or Psyshock or Psychic really. As a result, Psyshock might not be your best option. A good option is actually Rapid Spin because of the ability to get rid of those hazards, but another choice could be Recover to just stay in longer. So Bolt Beam coverage plus Hydro Pump is very good, but Psyshock is technically still valid if you want stab, because it will do more damage and allows you to hit special walls, so that's not bad either. You do have a couple of item choices though. You can go ahead and go with the Life Orb, which is pretty standard, and that's recommended really. Other options include Focus Sash if you're really concerned about that, and you can also go with Choice Specs. You could go with Focus, or I already said Focus Sash. Life Orb is a good option, or Leftovers works as well. Next up, we've got Golduck, which is again pretty standard on Misty because of her Psyduck in the anime from the, I believe, 2nd season. But yeah, it seems like this Golduck is going to be running a, Alright, this Golduck is going to be running a Home Claw set, even though it's not even completely physical, so that's interesting. Accuracy is pretty good for this Golduck though, but it does have a higher special attack, so you're going to want to be going with that special attack. I guess Aqua Jet just for priority, so that's nice, but I would say that it has an 85 base speed, but I would say that Surf or Scald is better. I believe it gets Hydro Pump as well, so if you want to go with Hydro Pump or something, that's good. Home Claws could be used for the accuracy, but it's not very good for foul play, so if you don't want to run Home Claws, that makes sense. Calm Mind works, but as I said, if you're not running Home Claws, then you're going to want to run Ice Beam, and Focus Blast is pretty good. If you take a look at here, you've got Ice, which is Ice Beam, Focus Blast, and you have Water, which is your Hydro Pump, and that hits everything except for those guys. So another option is, instead of Focus Blast, you can go with Hidden Power Electric. It'll take out all of the stuff that Focus Blast hits, just for weaker power, but it's super effective, so that works too. Hidden Power Ice, or Hidden Power Grass or Electric work, except Hidden Power Grass lowers your attack and special attack, whereas Hidden Power Electric just lowers your special attack. So that's up to you whether or not you want to run Hidden Power Electric or Grass. They're both fine over Focus Blast. So Focus Blast is not too great, but it does have a nice high power with a nice low accuracy. So that's up to you if you want to run that. But Hidden Power Electric will round out your coverage if you want. Hidden Power Electric or Hidden Power Grass. Calm Mind is good in your last slot just because you could boost up your special defense, which is a nice decent 80, and you can raise your special attack, which makes for a nice sweeper. So that's up to you. Next we have Nature. Again, since you are running a special set, you kind of want to go Timid to outspeed a couple of counters around base 85 speed. But if you'd like, Modest also works as well. Same thing goes for Starmie. As for your item, the same things. You can go with Focus Sash. You have Life Orb, and you got Leftovers if you think you can boost your special defense enough to take hits, and since you don't have Recovery, Leftovers is actually pretty decent as well. So Life Orb plus Calm Mind may not always be the best option, so Leftovers plus Calm Mind actually works pretty well as well. So if you'd like to run Leftovers, that's a valid option. Next we have Seeking, which I named Stab because it stabs you with the horn, and it also gets stabbed from water. But if you take a look, it's actually got base 68 speed, which is not too good, and basically mediocre stats except for attack, which is 92. But he actually does have agility, so they are going to run a setup sweeper, agility Seeking. Now, it might be better in lower tiers, but Wake Berry is really not the best berry. If you're going to use a berry, then you use the one for raising attack. But honestly, I would say that Choice Band Seeking is better just because it lacks the sheer offensive power. It does have nice base 92. It is in the tier of PU, but if you'd like to run a agility set in PU, its power, 92 base power, should be okay in PU, so that's not too bad. So if you'd like to run agility, you don't need to run Choice Band. So the same thing, Leftovers or Life Orb are both definitely decent options. I would say Life Orb is better for the ability to basically do a ton of damage. You're only going to have so long because Seeking's defenses are pretty bad. Special defense is 80, which is pretty decent, but it does have a nice base 80 HP as well. But honestly, you're not going to get much out of that. So his moves are Mega Horn, Waterfall, and Poison Jab. So that would be Bug, Water, and Poison. And that coverage will hit everything except for Tentacruel, Quillfish, Empoleon, Dialga, Giratina, Jellicent, Dragalt. You won't see any of them in PU because basically everything is RU or above. Quillfish is actually an RU. So you might see like Frillish or Scrub, but you should easily be able to take those guys out with your speed because you have a higher. You're fully evolved and they're not. So that's basically why. But you want to run an Adamant Nature. As for ability, all three abilities are pretty decent because Water Veil will prevent you from being burned, which, you know, you're a physical attacker, so that's good. So Swim will, if you have rain support, then this could be really handy for outspeeding the other people, and you don't need agility if you have it. But Lightning Rod is also really good for removing one of your weaknesses and basically negating your weaknesses so you only have one. So those three are all really decent options. Next we have Lapras, and it is holding the Ganlon Berry, which raises your defense by 1 stage, which, you know, it makes it seem like this guy's a more walling set, so we'll go ahead and move on with a walling set. I prefer Toxic over Confuse Ray, but that's just my personal preference. It does, again, have that Bolt Beam coverage, if you didn't check it out last time. With Golduck, it basically hits everything with Hydro Pump, Ice Punch, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt, but you can remove Ice Beam or Thunderbolt, depending on what you want to hit for the ability to get Recover. So either hitting Water types or hitting Grass types with Ice Beam. So Ice Beam will hit Grass types and Thunderbolt will hit Water types. And Hydro Pump is Stab. I would say that since Ice Beam is Stab, it's better, but honestly, it just depends on your team's needs. So you do want Rest to keep yourself alive, basically, because it doesn't really have good recovery. It can't learn Recover and stuff. So yeah. Toxic and Rest is pretty good. If you want to run Sleep Talk actually over Ice Beam, that would work as well. Or Sleep Talk over Hydro Pump, that would work as well. Now, of course, you do have that Electric and Ice, the Bolt Beam coverage. You do get stabbed from Ice, so you don't have to worry about not having to stab them. If you don't want to deal with Magnemite, Magneton, Magnezone, Rotom Heat, and Rotom Frost, because most of them are in higher tiers. Lapras is actually not too high in the tiers. It's very underrated with a PU. So Magneton is actually BL3. So there's not much to worry about, really. So honestly, Magnemite, you should be able to take out a Magnemite easily. So if you want to go with Electric Ice Beam, that would be Thunderbolt Ice Beam. Sorry, that would be a really decent option as well. So, of course, Sleep Talk is always an option over Thunderbolt or Ice Beam, depending on what you want to hit again. So, Ganlon Berry should be replaced by Leftovers, I believe. So, Leftovers will be used in order to basically gain HP every turn. Water Absorb is great in order to get that water immunity and heal. Although Shell Armor could be decent for critical hits, but honestly, Water Absorb is better. For your nature, if you take a look at his stats, he's got a nice 95 special defense and a decent 80 defense. But he does have a great 130 HP, so its special defense is higher, so you could be a special wall easier. So it's honestly better to run a calm nature in order to boost your special defense, but bold is also decent if you want to run defensive. Next we have Slowbro. Now Slowbro actually got a Mega Evolution in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So honestly, your choice is between Blastoise as a Mega or Slowbro as a Mega. I did say that we were just going to do it by set, but I do only want to keep one Mega per team. So I will basically try to keep it at 1 Mega per team if possible, because Blastoise is much better with Mega and Slowbro is still decent without. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at Slowbro. This guy's got a nice decent move pool with Side Shock, Scald, and Slack Off for healing, but I would personally run Thunder Wave for Paralysis or Toxic for Poisoning to make you a wall. Regenerator is super good because it'll heal you when you switch out. So that's a must-have. And it seems like this guy wants to run a special defensive set. So if you wanted to run special defensive, you could run Assault Vest with Fire Blast, Scald, Side Shock, and Ice Beam. And of course, Thunderbolt is also an option. But for this time, I'm not going to be running the Assault Vest set. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Leftovers again, because it's a bulky Pokemon, so you do want to keep Slack Off and Toxic, but Assault Vest is definitely decent. You just get rid of Slack Off and Toxic, but you keep Regenerating. So for the nature, you're going to be wanting to run a especially defensive or physically defensive. Now, it's generally a physically defensive Pokemon, so Old Nature is generally preferred for physically defensive. So that's it for Slowbro. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a really common Pokemon, and it's really good. So yeah. And also, one thing is that their tiers might not line up correctly. So, you do have those RU and PU Pokemon that honestly can't take those Magnezones and stuff, but honestly, your whole team can't really take it. So, besides maybe Seeking there, but honestly, it's not really on teams, it's more like the sets in that tier. So, next and finally, we have Blastoise, who is holding the Salic Berry, which raises your speed, implying that it's actually supposed to be a sweeper, even though it only has 78 base speed, which is, I guess it's fine. But Blastoise's main things is that it learns Rapid Spin. It also gets 100 base defense and 105 base special defense. That's nice. But since we don't have a Mega, let's go ahead and use Blastoise's Mega Stone. And honestly, Torrent or Rain Dish doesn't really matter. I would say that Rain Dish is better because you're going to be Mega Evolving anyways, and if the Rain happens to be up, then you could get 1/16 of your max HP on that turn that you come in, but that's very unlikely. Avalanche is not a very good move because you have to get hit first, and Iron Tail has horrid accuracy, and Iron Defense, honestly, you're not going to be using it because you want Rapid Spin instead. So you do want to run Rapid Spin, it gives it a nice niche, and Blastoise does get that ability Mega Launcher, which allows you to basically use those pulse moves and stuff, so is another decent option. Again, that was your water moves. You don't need Hydro Pump, so the other option is you can go with Dark Pulse, which is nice, and Aura Sphere, which are nice as well. So those are some nice coverage. Dragon can be used over Aura Sphere in order to get coverage on everything except for Azumarill and Whimsicott. But other options include Ice Beam, even though it does not get that boost, in order to have different weaknesses, although you're basically going to get countered by Azumarill every single time. So that's really up to you on what you want to run. Actually, now that I think of it, I would actually run Hydro Pump, even though it has lower accuracy. So that basically rounds out your coverage. Aura Sphere, Ice Beam, or Dragon Pulse are pretty good on that last slot. Aura Sphere and Dragon Pulse do get that Mega Launcher boost, but, you know, that's up to you whether you want coverage against certain Pokemon, depending on your team. So, your nature is going to want to be running a Modest Nature for that power, and honestly, that's basically it. I did forget to give them EVs, So I will go ahead and give them EVs. You do want to put EVs in special attack, and you do want to put EVs in speed. Generally 252 on Starmie actually. For Psyduck, you are going to want to be running 252 special attack, but you could choose between 252 speed, which if you're running timid, you do want to put 252 speed. If you're not running timid and you're running bulky instead, you could run 252 HP. For Sea King, you do want to get that speed off if you're going to be running agility, and you want to get max attack as much as possible. So that's for Sea King. Lapras, you're going to want to be, if you're specially defensive, you want to go, you could go HP and special defense, you could also go HP defense, you could also go defense and special defense, depending on whatever you need. For Slowbro, you do want that HP, and you do need that physically defensive part. And last but not least, for Blastoise, you want that 252 in special attack and 252 in HP to make yourself a bulky spinner that can deal a ton of damage. So that's it for this video. I kind of get the feeling that it's like making sets for these guys, but I'm just trying to basically take what the Pokemon Black and White game did and just make it, you know, your own set. So for now, this is going to be replacing those sets that I normally do during the X and Y metagame, but we'll just see how that goes after I finish this set, the series. So basically right now, they're just sort of sets that are based off of those. They're not complete sets with like 3 or 4 different sets that I sometimes do. So for now, this will be replacing my sets that I normally do on my channel, and until then, we'll see how it goes. So thanks guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like, and see you guys later.